widespread mayhem and destruction. Emergency workers fear the death toll could be much higher, with several reports of cars being washed away in flood waters. It said that the Durban area has had more than 100 millimeters of rain in the last 24 hours. Areas in Durban and north and south of the city were heavily affected by flooded roads, mudslides and overflowing rivers. Several reports were received of rescuers having to free people trapped in their homes overnight. Many motorists and workers have been cut off from their workplaces. The Department of Education in the province has advised schools not to open if it was not safe to do so. National roads in KwaZulu-Natal also have not been spared, with parts of both the N3 and the N2 affected. The National Roads Agency have called on motorists to delay their trips. For more on the floods in KwaZulu-Natal, we now bring in our colleague Vusi Khumalo. Vusi, what are you seeing? What's the situation there right now? I'm not sure if we're still connecting to Vusi Khumalo. It seems we're not able to. We'll try him again later. Now, Eskom will this afternoon implement stage 2 rolling blackouts from 5 p.m. today until 5 a.m. tomorrow. This is due to generation capacity. Eskom says the constrained supply situation will persist throughout the week. The power utility says more load shedding is likely to be implemented should the generation capacity deteriorate further. Unit 5 of Medupi Power Station returned to service during the night. However, 3 generations at Camden Power Station tripped during the night, contributing to the current shortage of capacity. Eskom currently has 4,804 megawatts on planned maintenance, while another 14,449 megawatts of capacity is unavailable due to unplanned breakdowns. Let's take you back now to our colleague Vusi Khumalo, who's monitoring the flooding story in KwaZulu-Natal. Vusi, what's the latest? What are you seeing on the ground?
The situation in KwaZulu-Natal is very worse. Actually, it's even worse that anyone can think of. In recent years, I haven't seen such destruction in my life. Where I am, I'm even locked out here from where I am at Amanzimtoti. I can't even go through to Durban or to do a story that I was assigned to. Currently, the search and rescue teams in KwaZulu-Natal are currently trying to ascertain the extent of the damage here in KwaZulu-Natal. With so many places in distress, I can tell you that in one incident at Ponela, that's around Durban area, there's a house that collapsed with a father who managed to escape, but unfortunately, 3 people, including his wife and their 2 daughters, are still trapped under the rubble. So that's the kind of situation that we have in KwaZulu-Natal. As you may have heard that yesterday, 2 people were swept away by strong currents at Lindelani area of Aduza on the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal, or on the north coast of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as 2 people who were on a boat that capsized at Mapelani area that's near Isimangaliso Wetland Park. And also there are also perhaps many other incidents that are currently happening. As I told you that earlier, though, I'm also locked out. I cannot go through to Durban. Currently, the disaster management teams are about to brief the media, but I'm told some of those people who were responsible to also brief the media about the situations in the situation in KwaZulu-Natal are not able to even access that disaster management area, of which the mayor of eThekwini, Mr. Nxolisi Kaunda, as well as some officials, they told me that they are also locked out. They are not able to do that, so they may be doing this virtually in their homes, which is Dlamini saying the spokesperson or the communications officer for the city of eThekwini, saying that he's not able to even to access other nearby areas because he's also been locked out. So he will try to ensure that they give us information after getting information from other areas as well. So it's not only Durban that has been affected with the death toll not yet been confirmed, but there are reports that we are getting from paramedics and also from emergency and rescue services. Let me quote a few that have already responded to some of this situation. Let me read a statement from Major Response released today saying that 7 people and 2 dogs rescued from rooftop in Verulam area. During the early hours of this morning, Major Response Search and Rescue Division responded to Verulam for reports of persons in distress. And upon arrival of the crews, 5 adults, 2 children and 2 dogs were identified as stranded on the rooftop of the house. Teams sprang into action and established systems to effect a rescue. Fortunately, those people were rescued alive. And also another statement from Major Response KZN saying that Major Response Search and Rescue teams, together with various other services, are currently searching the area where a washed-away car has been located. This vehicle was washed away last night, and unfortunately, its 4 occupants were taken with it, including 2 children. One of the vehicle's occupants has been located. Unfortunately, they did not survive, saying that they've recovered 1 body, but 3 other bodies have not been located as yet. And another statement from ALS paramedics saying that they are currently on a scene where a house has collapsed. That's in Ponele area around Durban. It is reported that 3 females are trapped under the rubble, and the mother and her 2 daughters are currently trapped under the rubble. So the paramedics are trying to ensure that they do extricate those people who are currently trapped under the rubble. And also in another area, just as you go to Durban from where I am, from Amanzimtoti to Durban, just on the halfway at the old airport, as you may know, the old airport in Durban, we are seeing containers that are floating on the waterlogged N2. That is also the N2 when you go to Durban. So it's flooded. No one can go through. And even those containers are currently floating on the water. But we are seeing the teams from disaster management teams from KwaZulu-Natal as well as COCTA, who are saying that they will be springing to action to ensure that they also minimize the extent of the damage on the road. But the death toll could be even higher than what we thought already, that we have already reported more than 10 people who have unfortunately died in these difficult circumstances in KwaZulu-Natal as the rains continue to batter many parts of KwaZulu-Natal, even as far as Mango, the area, as well as Port Shepstone and Ladysmith, as well as in Durban. But Durban is seemingly the one that is getting that has got so much destruction currently seen, with so many people locked out, not able to move. They can only move within their areas of dwelling. As I am also where I am at Manzimtoti, I'm locked out. I cannot move any further than my point from where I'm staying at Manzimtoti. And nearby areas such as Makuta, Umlazi, Prospecting, the roads are waterlogged. Even we've also seen the landslides from where I am, even at Makuta area. We've seen mudslides as well as landslides here in KwaZulu-Natal, following Umlazi, Prospecting, Makuta areas. Those are the areas that are currently in distress, with so many people are also missing at this point in time. It's back to you for now.
Vusi, I think when you see the floating shipping containers, it kind of gives one a sense of the brevity of the situation, because one just has to think in their head when you've seen a shipping container and its size and that it can float in water. It almost gives one a sense of the extent of the rainfall. You were talking earlier about the emergency workers who are going to give a briefing later. They were saying earlier that they fear that the death toll could be much higher than what we've been reporting on. What are we hearing in this regard?
Yes, COCTA, which is Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, is currently trying to ensure that they do have some sort of a briefing. They are currently in a meeting. I did call them earlier on. They were saying that they're trying to get their teams to have reports from different parts of those affected parts of KwaZulu-Natal that have been affected, because what makes this so difficult to ascertain information is that the heavy rains that are still continuing are still battering many parts of KwaZulu-Natal. So it is currently difficult to ascertain information, as we are sort of like chasing something that's not within our reach as we speak. But Porter Department, as well as Ethekwini disaster management teams, are currently on scene already, trying to assist people who are experiencing difficulties and those who are in distress, with many of them are trapped under the rubble. As I've said earlier on, that 3 people, all females, with a mother and her 2 daughters, are currently under the rubble. So they are trying. They're trying to work out. They're trying to work to ensure that those people who are trapped under the rubble are able to bring them to surface, hoping that they are still alive. There are so many incidents here in KwaZulu-Natal of such similar, in nature, where the KwaZulu-Natal authorities, including the Premier, who has also dispatched these teams to ensure that people who have maybe still trapped under the rubble are being brought to surface, and also those who were swept away by strong currents are being found alive. But as we speak, at the moment, things are getting worse as the rain still continues in many parts of KwaZulu-Natal, with many streams, bursting their banks, and also the rivers, the river mouths are also, experiencing the worst case scenarios. Even here at mudslides, the bridge is also under stress. There's a bridge between the CPD that is currently overflowing with waters. Overflowing over the bridge here as we speak, with no cars going through, as well as the old airport that is currently flooded with no cars going through as well. With so many other parts of KwaZulu-Natal, not only the Durban that is experiencing difficulty in terms of waterlogged and also being flooded with so many areas, people not able to access even necessities. They are only pinning their hopes that the nearby spaza shops are not running out of their supply at the moment. We are also seeing some starting to queue here at mudslides and also nearby areas such as Makuta, following and Umlazi. But there are cars that are being turned away because some of them are still trying to move around, trying to use alternative routes to Durban so that they can go to work. Some of them have already been told. Even the KwaZulu-Natal Education MEC did release a media alert last night saying that the teams saying that the schools can be closed. Many schools have been affected in KwaZulu-Natal, with many children can stay at home. They cannot go to school. So it's not only the roads that has been affected, even the schools have been affected, with so many children being told to stay at home, and whenever they find a place that they can use as a refuge or community centers, they can stay there. If their houses have also been affected, I can tell you that even my sister's house last night at Chalodale in Stenga has been damaged or destroyed, with only one room left. She only used that room just to stay overnight. But with so many other areas, one thing is everyone here in KwaZulu-Natal almost, especially Durban, is affected in one way or another.
And Vusi, I wanted to ask you about that instruction from the Provincial Department of Education. Has that call to not go to school if not necessary, has that been heeded?
I think so. From where I am, I haven't even seen one person or one school child wearing a school uniform. I've seen quite a few young adults, even as young teenagers here trying to buy something here at the local shops. I did ask them if their schools are open. They did say that there was no way they could have gone to school because of the situation that is currently being experienced here in KwaZulu-Natal. So there's no way one could have perhaps gone to school in these circumstances because the rains are still battering us here in KwaZulu-Natal. So yeah, there was no way. But I do think that in many areas that call was heeded. But what I've also noted yesterday, I did see some matriculants who went to school from here to neighboring areas such as Makuta. Those children, I did ask them, they did say that they are matriculants, so there was no way they could have missed critical times such as this when they are nearing half-year exams. But some they did say that today, if the situation continues, they will not go to school. But so far, I haven't seen one children going to school. But that call made by the Education MEC was somehow heeded by many people, many communities in KwaZulu-Natal, because I have not heard or seen any of the people going to school, even the teachers there. But I do see some cars that are roaming around here, but they are also being turned away because the situation is untenable here in KwaZulu-Natal. As I'm speaking to you right now, I'm seeing people are trying to mount a police or a danger tape to alert of the danger ahead, because there are those who are trying their luck to pass through to the other side. But the situation is even worse, with so many people having died already as a result of the flood-related incidents in KwaZulu-Natal as we speak.
The irony is that we're asking school children to stay at home when you're not guaranteed safety, whether you're home or at school or at work. Vusi, let's talk about Umgeni Water warning residents around banks, saying that ongoing heavy downpours caused by dam levels has caused the dam levels to rise rapidly to 63%. But they're also saying that they'll be conducting an emergency water release today to restore dams to normal levels. What do we know about this? The times where the water is going to be released to, seeing that there's already so much water around. Do we have any detail?
Currently, I can say that I haven't seen that statement, just that we are receiving many reports from different parts of organizations, and we are still yet to verify. It's not something that I can confidently go on air with, because at the moment I did not, have that one on my hands. What I can tell you is that, yes, indeed, the riverbanks have been burst. Water overflowing with so many dams, overflowing even on Umgeni. There are so many residential areas that are alongside Umgeni River banks. Those areas are surely being affected, and also people have been told to evacuate. Because the situation is very dangerous, especially to those who are living in low-lying areas, and as well as those who are living, staying just alongside the dams as well as streams and rivers, because not only Umgeni, also other big rivers in KwaZulu-Natal, Uthukela, as well as other areas, Umsunduzi and other, Amanzimtoti River, as well as other big dams and streams in KwaZulu-Natal. So those people have been alerted to ensure that they also, if the situation becomes very difficult for them, they can then seek refuge in nearby centers, such as the community halls that they can stay. And also, they've been told to evacuate. They've been evacuated in many instances. We've seen yesterday, even at Umdloti, just north coast of Durban. They've been told that there are those who were refusing to leave the area, but eventually they were able to they were forced to leave those areas because the situation is very difficult, if one can say so. So the Umgeni River, yes, indeed, it does experience, those kinds of, banks or bursting and also water overflowing. So it is very, critical for people who are staying along those areas to seek for other places of residence, because the situation is very difficult. And also the search and rescue teams are currently working flat out to ensure that they do help those experiencing difficulties in KwaZulu-Natal as we speak. I did try to speak to Simpiwe Dlamini, who is the communications officer from eThekwini municipality. He was saying that at the moment he does not have information as to how many people or about the death toll in this under this municipality, eThekwini. And also I did speak to Mzila Mzila from Culture Department in KwaZulu-Natal. He also did say that he doesn't have a verified number of death toll in KwaZulu-Natal, but they are trying to piece together information from different teams in KwaZulu-Natal, because the situation is currently worsening as we speak, as this rains actually started on Friday. So the whole weekend it was raining, and still now it is raining, and it's just not light rain. It's heavy downpours that are destroying and damaging many infrastructure as well as property in KwaZulu-Natal. Also lives that have been lost as well, and those who are reported missing, those who are currently feared death as a result of being trapped under the rubble, and those who have been swept away by strong currents of the streams and rivers in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Vusi, we hope we can talk to you a bit later for an update on the situation, and hopefully when you have been able to access the roads. And we've reached out to Airports Company South Africa, AXA, with regards to Tiny. We've reached out to Airports Company South Africa with regards to the floods, and they have confirmed to us that it is business as usual on their side. No flights have been affected. In fact, because our conversation on Twitter is related, one tweet which we will read you later is a viewer saying that they're having the sun where they are and everything is all fine. As precisely why we call them localized. And let's speak now to